The other important idea that Gaddis introduces you to in chapter 4 is the domino theory. And this particular theory is really based on a quote from Eisenhower, who basically says, quote, "You have a row of dominoes set up. You knock over the first one, and the last one will go over very quickly. So you have a disintegration that would have the most profound influences," end of quote. And this is on the end of page 123 in Gaddis. And then he goes on to give you a discussion of this idea of the domino theory. One of the lessons, of course, that the United States learns from Korea is that even these small nations that don't have a lot of resources become important in the context of the Cold War. And so the domino theory, this idea that if one nation, even if it's small or may not necessarily have been considered very important before the Cold War, all of a sudden creates an urgency for the United States to react, and Russia will have the same perspective. So allies, of course, become really important. And how do you develop allies in the context of new nations that are looking to put their own interests together and put them forward in a way in which they're able to take advantage of this Cold War debate during this period? And so, of course, this is part of what drives the United States in terms of its outward policy. On the home front, of course, this is going to be used as a means to convince the public of why it is important for the United States to participate in conflicts like that in Vietnam. So pay attention to those different pieces that he addresses in the chapter. If you have any questions about what he discusses, there is a discussion board that I put down so that you will have an opportunity to ask questions. So when you think about the discussion question, this idea of critical allies, who was important? Gaddis actually points to some of the different powers that will basically take advantage of the situation. On the other hand, then how does what is taking place in, for example, Vietnam, then affect the way that Americans actually react to involvement outside of the United States in these larger conflicts that are seen as pivotal for the Cold War? So if you have any more questions about this, please feel free to post on the discussion board. I will be looking at that on a daily basis, or email me with your questions.